Okay, welcome guys to Aussie Jim's Tips here. What we're going to talk about today is our Crack-Weld product. Okay, we have two Crack-Welds right here. One will be the Crack-Weld regular, the other one will be the Crack-Weld 5-minute. The Crack-Weld regular, dry time on this one is going to be between 10 to 16 hours, just depending on the room temperature and things like that, slab temperature also. The product itself comes in a 3-to-1 mixed ratio, so what you're looking at is a 1 gallon kit right here, 3 parts A to 1 part B. On the install guide and also on the side of the bucket, it's actually the ratios are put right there. What we're going to use this one for, if we've got a large floor, we've got a whole lot of cracks in that floor, ranging anywhere from a 1/16 of an inch up to a 1/4 of an inch wide. We want to utilize this one for the cost factor. So the dry time is not critical on a floor like this, but what is critical is the cost of how much you're spending on the repairs here. So right now what we're looking at is about $75 for a 1 gallon kit. Coverage rate on that's going to vary due to the thickness of the cracks that you're repairing. So those cracks that you're looking at, first of all, we want to crack chase and V-chase the cracks out, vacuum, hit them with a wire brush, scuff them up the best that we can, get all the debris possible out of there. After that, we're going to do our grinding on the concrete, open up the pores of the concrete, but then once we do that grinding, obviously more cracks are going to appear. So again, if we're talking for a large floor, we've got an expanse, a large amount of floor to cover, this is going to be the economical way of putting it down. We're going to mix this into a 2 gallon bucket. We're going to have measuring cups. We're going to measure up exactly what we need. We're not going to mix the whole kit at once. It's going to kick off on you way too quick. Just utilize what you can in about a 5 to 10 minute period. Okay. Firstly, what I like to do though on these larger cracks is get some silica sand in the crack first. That'll be a 30 or 20 grit silica sand. Get that in the crack there to fill that crack up just a little bit and dam it up. The product itself it's got a fairly good consistency, not so much like a pancake batter, but a little bit runnier than that. It's meant to penetrate deeper into the cracks in that concrete itself. So after we put the silica sand in there, we're going to come back and backfill it again with the epoxy. Okay, a 3-to-1 mixed ratio. We're going to use a a quart cup. We're going to use that quart cup and pour it into the cracks themselves. We're going to overfill the crack to begin with, and that material is going to penetrate and run down further into the crack, and it's going to expose some areas where we're going to have low portions on the floor. We want to come back about 10-15 minutes later, put some more of the crack fill in there to smooth it out a little bit. Then we're going to sit back and wait for about another 30 minutes or so. Take a look on the floor, walk the floor, because you don't have to come back and do these repairs later. Fill those cracks again. You may have to mix up a little bit more material. Again, to use the product, you've probably got about 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, spread it out with a spatula, a putty knife, or whatever it is to achieve what you need to do. But just remember, I want to overfill those cracks, then come back and grind them down flush. We're going to use the silica sand to put it into the crack first, and we can also add the silica sand into the mix as we're doing it too, to thicken it up and give it a bit more of a paste consistency. So this one here, we're looking at, as I said, 10 to 16 hour dry time. Okay, meant to go down overnight, come back the next day, we're going to grind the floor. So we've also got the 5-minute Crack-Weld. So don't get confused between the regular, which is a 1 gallon kit, and the 5-minute Crack-Weld, which is a 1-to-1 mixed ratio on this one here. The 5-minute Crack-Weld is more of a paste consistency. It won't sag into the crack. It's like a creamy paste, a little bit heavier. Ideal for filling in the cracks, again, from a 1/16 of an inch up to a 1/4 inch wide. Divots in the concrete, you may have a little bit of spalling in the concrete there. I prefer to use this kind of epoxy material and a cementitious filler for the spalling of the cracks. It's called 5-minute Crack-Weld. It gives you 5 minutes in utilizing the product once you mix it up to get it down in the cracks. Again, we're going to use a spatula, putty knife, or some type like that, and we're going to squeeze that into the crack itself. It's not going to go all the way through the crack, so just be aware of that. Okay, it's meant to bridge the crack by about an inch or so deep into the crack themselves. And again, this one can go from a 1/4 inch wide down to a 1/16 of an inch. The timing on this one here, we call it 5-minute Crack-Weld. It'll actually set up in about 20 to 30 minutes. After 20 to 30 minutes, you can come back there with a grinder and grind that thing down flush again. Now, with these products, I don't want them to replace any sort of resurfacing or filling of large spalling areas with the product. This is basically meant for those small little divots in the floor up to the cracks that, again, up to a 1/4 inch wide, maybe a little bit larger. We can refer to the install guide that's going to give you some steps right there. Also, the storage of the product, we want to keep it in a cool environment, room temperature preferably, no lower than 45 degrees. The benefits of the product are the fast drying cure time for the 5-minute Crack-Weld, the longer cure time with the regular Crack-Weld that will allow it to penetrate deeper into the concrete and fill in those voids a lot better for you. When you're resurfacing the products, we don't want to go too deep with it, okay? Up to about half an inch or so would probably be the limit for what we want. We're not looking to resurface an area of 5 feet by 5 feet with the Crack-Weld. We're going to use our resurfacer and our lifetime primer silica sand blend with that. So guys, don't force dry the product, let the product dry at its own nature. As I said, the epoxies once mixed together, they're going to kick off fairly quick on you. They both give you plenty of time to work. Working time with the product is not an issue with it. Just don't let it sit in the bucket too long. Okay, you're going to have to hustle just a little bit. Now also, cleaning. Once you're done with the job, what are you going to clean it with? Well, preferably some lacquer thinner or some acetone. Wipe down the tools. Preferably wear some gloves. Also wear OSHA approved masks when obviously grinding concrete or working with these products also.